All right, I'm Alexander Hanks, and I am here to talk to you about the interview that I had with a successful business entrepreneur. The person that I interviewed was David Hanks. He's a president and co-founder of High Country Fusion Company. This is a successful piping business that manufactures pipe fittings, rents machines, and drop ships products, etc. So pretty much starting off, I really focused on the story of him because I thought that was really cool, and then I just pretty much took my own takeaways from the stories, which kind of helped me come to the conclusions that I did. So after graduating college with international business degree, he was going to go on with an MBA and go to Pepperdine, but he decided to take a risk and start with his grandfather a piping company called High Country Fusion, and that's where they started making polyethylene pipe fittings and just slowly started expanding. Um, he took many early contracts going to, he had contracts in Indonesia, in China, in Japan, and he even opened like a facility in a sales facility in Australia, which he told me that going into those international markets was super helpful for him, um, because it's not affected by certain things like oil prices or manufacturing prices, um, tariffs, trade things like that that you really have to like learn about that you don't know about if you're just in one market like the U.S. So that's what he told me from there. After doing the fittings and getting good contracts like that, they started expanding into the machine rentals and drop shipping and pipe storing, where you do store it for value and then resell it later to gain some profit. And that's kind of where they're at right now. He then sold the company in 2016 to a company called Consolidated Pipe and Supply, which is a super big um, they own like a lot of the South, like Alabama area of just piping and steel pipe, whatever it may be. Um, and he made profit selling to them, and now he still works for them, and he's the president still of the division that he runs in, and so yeah, that's kind of his story. That's how he is to this day. One of the things that I took away from it really was, um, first of all, taking risks. I laid out the story of how he was going to go to Pepperdine, get his MBA, and then go from there. But instead, he pursued a risk and he decided to take a risk on, being an entrepreneur and leading a startup, um, which ultimately got him to his success today. Um, Another thing that he told me was that corporate business doesn't really give him the control over the company that he wants. So, like for example, he's trying to open up new branches in Denver and Washington, and he can't really do that because they're not giving him the pricing that he wants to be able to build a property. They say, "Oh, our company standpoint comes from buying some rundown, maybe soiled land or something, and then building up like an empire from that. So we want to buy some really or rent some really low quality, low end property um, instead of getting a really nice facility that you can go to. And then also, um, he told me starting up is very hard work. It's going to take all the time that you have, and you will fail. You just have to keep going. And the way you endure it is the way you're going to have success. If you just give up, you're not going to be successful. And yeah, I think those were the main takeaways from this whole interview. It was a great interview. I loved every second of it. Um, and yeah,